It's a beautiful day outside, it looks like. So appreciate you guys coming and giving up your Labor Day. This is Labor Day, right? Labor Day afternoon to come with us. So appreciate it. Before we get started, just a couple things. I did not do this Friday night, and apologize, but just wanted to thank our fans, our students, for showing up and creating a very good environment in the stadium Friday night. With the students not being back in school yet, it was a great sign of support and excitement for our program to have that many students show up. I thought it was very well attended. The Scarlet Walk before the game was one of the best attended Scarlet Walks that we've had since we've been here, so very excited about that. And it did create a lot of energy outside the stadium, inside the stadium, and definitely tremendous enthusiasm from our players for that kind of support. So I just want to make sure I thank those students and fans that came to support our football team Friday night. Just a reminder on injuries. You guys know this, but just a reminder, injuries on guys that are day-to-day or week-to-week, won't, make comments on those if a guy's out long-term. I'll definitely update you guys on that situation and on those players. But with that, just looking forward to the next game, week 2. Eastern Michigan comes to town. Excited to see the improvement of our football team. Haas gave me this number. I think we had 22 guys that played their first snap in a Rutgers uniform, whether it be transfer freshman or a returning player that had not played here before. 22 guys played in their first game last Friday, and typically, it's coach speak, but you do make a lot of improvement from week 1 to week 2, and I'm excited to watch those players improve from week 1 to week 2. Just quickly, Eastern Michigan, they're 1-0, coming off a bull bid in 2016. Very well-coached football team. Chris Creighton and his staff have done an outstanding job turning that program around, and we expect to get their best shot here on Saturday afternoon. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
What specific areas are you looking for improvement from?
The number one thing is just mental errors. That's what cost us in the game. We just had too many in all 3 phases, and we need to clean that up. It wasn't an effort deal. It wasn't a toughness deal. It wasn't fundamentals. Felt pretty good about all of that. We just had some mental issues and mental errors in some critical situations that we can't have. And, we've evaluated that as a staff, as a team, what they were. And there's a lot that goes into that, but that's the number one area that we have to clean up to be able to go out and win games. Easy crowd today.
Obviously, the freshmen don't show up much in the box score, but when you saw them on film, the 9 true freshmen who played in the game, what did you see from them handling their first day on a big stage? I
saw really a group of mature young men. I really think that you start with the opening kickoff, very first play of the season. We had 4 true freshmen on the kickoff team. First tackle, the first kick was an outstanding kick by Justin Davidowitz. He was a freshman, got great distance, great hang time. The opening tackle was made by a true freshman linebacker. So that really excited me to be able to see them go out and handle that moment. Really did not know what they would do, especially if we were going to kick off to start the season, and was really pleased with what I saw. Other freshmen that played on offense, again, they showed good composure, pretty good execution. They weren't perfect. They made some mistakes, but they were mistakes that we can definitely clean up and build on and move forward with.
Chris, you said right after the game Friday night that you felt you weren't out physical.
Yeah.
I assume it looked the same way on tape.
Yeah.
And how much of a kind of a breakthrough is that? There were games last year where it seems that did happen. And how much can that help you going forward?
Well, it helps a lot, but what we have to do is we got to stay healthy, and we've got to try to stay fresh, because what happens as the season goes on, your body's get more and more reps, they start to break down, and that physicality, that speed, that freshness that you see on game 1 starts to dissipate and go away, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen. So that's that was a big topic of conversation coming out of last year. If you watch our team last year, the first 4 or 5 games, we played pretty fast. We're a pretty physical football team, but it went away, and we got to make sure that doesn't go away.
Coach, you mentioned after the game that D-line being a little gassed. Is that a product of not playing enough guys or just being on the field too much? And how do you plan to address that going forward?
No, it's a product of them going tempo. You know, they got us with some tempo. And, you know, when teams do go tempo like that, you got to be able to rotate. They were going, you know, really faster than what we have seen in a while in that certain segment in the third quarter, and we couldn't get a rotation going. There was one point I called a timeout just because of that. It was a critical situation down in the red zone. Wanted to be able to catch our breath, get our composure back. They were going some unbalanced formations and tempo, and you combine those two things together. That's usually difficult on a defense. It is anywhere I've been, and those two things got us on our heels a little bit, and we had a bad stretch in the third quarter, worst stretch of the game, and it was because of those two things. And when they're going fast like that, if the ball's not getting out of bounds, it's tough to get, you know, a substitution rotation going, and that's what happened to us in that stretch.
Two questions on the passing game. Is the hope to get Jonathan in one of these next two games first? And then second, would you like to stretch the field more with the vertical passing game? Were those opportunities just not there against Washington? Is that a priority going forward?
Yeah, let's start with Jonathan. You know, getting Jonathan in the game, it's going to be all situational. Just did not feel in that type of a game against that opponent, that environment, that the right opportunity came up to put him in that game. But yeah, we are definitely hoping to get Jonathan Lewis in games and get him some opportunities to go out and play. But it's all situational. There's not a set script that says, hey, he's going in at this point, he's going to get this number of plays, anything like that. It's just what's best for the football team at that moment. In terms of being able to take shots down the field, absolutely, we want to be able to do that. You know, our concern going into this game against Washington, one, they're really good up front. You know, could we hold up? It obviously takes longer for play action passes and shots down the field to develop, and you got to be able to protect the quarterback. Going into the game, we thought that would be a concern. Coming out of the game, we protected a lot better than we probably had anticipated or what we did at any point last year. Looking back on it, you'd say, you know what, we did pretty good. We would like to take more shots down the field. But we need to be able to do that as we move forward. And that's something that we've talked about. We worked a lot on it in training camp, in spring and in training camp, but just against Washington, the way they play coverage with their cover three and the way their corners bail and keep everything in front of them and the pass rush that they're able to generate, we just didn't feel like at the moment it was the right team to try to do that too. That wasn't necessarily in the game plan.
Chris, when you look at the film, what stood out about Gus Edwards and then also the other two running backs you repped in there?
Yeah, Gus has obviously got tremendous size. What stood out is he has pretty good feet for his size. He can run with power, but he also has enough agility to make him miss, and he can change direction in a small space. And great ball security. You know, that's what stood out about Gus. And the next part, you talked about the other ones. You know, Rob Martin came in. I think Rob Martin probably ran as hard as Rob has since we have been here. And I think it's competition in the room. They're fighting for reps and opportunities, and when they go out there, they've got to make the most of them. And I think both Gus and Rob did that. We got Blackshear in the game, and you know, he did some nice things. It was limited reps, but he had a really nice open field. You know, catch and run there, made a guy miss, and really excited about his potential for the future. Did not get Josh Hicks in the game at running back, but Josh is another guy that we feel good about, that if he goes in, you know, he'll have a chance to make plays. But you look at that position group right now today with the addition of Gus, in my opinion, the improved Rob Martin and adding Blackshear in there, and then you got Josh Hicks. We got a pretty good group in there. And it's going to be competition for reps. They're going to have to show up every day and practice and study and focus and fight for every opportunity to get out there. That's what you want. You wish you had that at every position. You know, we don't have that yet, but that's one position we do.
When you look at Eastern Michigan, when you saw the film against Charlotte, can you tell that they're an experienced team, experienced quarterback, experienced defensive line?
Yeah. Obviously spent a lot more time watching their offense. They go really fast. Quarterback's a very good player, plays with a lot of poise and composure, understands their offense, executes it exceptionally well. Got a lot of respect for what they've done. You know, I know Chris Creighton personally, and he's a really good coach. He's done a great job with that program. But it starts with the quarterback. You know, you're not going to win games without a really good quarterback play, and they got that last year. And in the first game, you know, he's building off of what they did last year. So going to be a tremendous challenge for us because, again, they are a bowl team. They've got a lot of confidence right now. They do have enough experience back in the right spots that, you know, they can be a dangerous football team.
Well, Jay Jay Harris be back for this game? And
Yes.
is he back in practice and all that?
Yeah.
And what is he? Obviously, you're playing a lot of wide receivers. What does he have to do to get in that mix?
Just like any of the other ones, he's got to go out and practice. You know, he's got to show up with a good attitude, give that good effort, show us that you know, he knows what he's doing and he can go out and execute consistently. Just no different than any other position. You know, just because he's back, so to speak, doesn't mean that he's guaranteed to go out and get reps and play over somebody else that's been there and proven, you know, through the course of training camp. So, but we are excited to have him back. It was a small hiccup, but we'll move forward, and he'll have every opportunity to get back in the mix and earn playing time just like the other guys. But he will have some work to do, because I think those other guys really had good training camps and have progressed and developed, and there's some competition there at the wide receiver spot.
There's always been a question of him being a 3-down lineman. Did he show you something from, you know, stopping to run, playing all 3 downs?
Yeah, I mean, Kamoko, he had really a pretty good game. He had one mental error that cost us down in the red zone, but outside of that, he showed tremendous effort. I mean, we every Sunday after a game, we go through and show the team some effort plays from you know, all 3 phases, and we could have showed 4 or 5 of him alone, you know, with tremendous effort. So I'm really pleased with what Kamoko did, you know, for really the first time playing, you know, first, second, and third down. He rushed the passer, obviously. He did a good job in the run. You know, his effort was outstanding. So I'm fired up about what he can continue to do and how he can improve, and the impact that he can make on our football team if he keeps doing that.
With Jerry Kill, obviously he's been a head coach for so long. How much of an asset is it to have a guy like that? I know he's got his hands full calling the plays and talking to Kyle and everything, but how much of an asset is it to have a guy like that on the sidelines?
Well, it's great for the players, you know, because he doesn't get flustered. He doesn't get rattled. You know, he has composure. He's poised. There's no ups and downs. He's never too high, never too low, and that's really what you need to be as a play caller. When your play caller is like that, what do you think your players are going to be like? They're going to be that same way. You know, we make a great play, you know, people get excited, but as a play caller, what do you need to do? You need to be thinking about the next play, and you want your players to be in that same sort of mindset and that same focus, and that's what, you know, Jerry really brings to the players on the sideline. We have a negative play, you know, series doesn't go the way we want it to go. You can't get down and beat yourself up. You got to move forward and keep going, and that's what Jerry brings for, you know, our offense and for our offensive staff and our players, is that calmness, that poise, that ability just to move forward and stay focused in the moment, not worry about what happened the play before or the series before. And I think he did a great job of that. And I think, you know, you talk about Kyle. I mentioned this Friday after the game. You know, he wasn't perfect, but the kid showed tremendous composure out there, and I think a lot of it has to do with the guy that's coaching him and leading the offense, that when he's like that, the players are going to be like that.
There's a perception that Rutgers is going to be favored in the next 2 games. Do you look at the results from the weekend, Liberty beating Baylor, Howard beating UNLV, and say, you know, that you can't take any games lightly?
We don't take any games lightly, period. You know, we haven't won a game in, 11 tries. There's not one game that we're going to take lightly. Every game's a big game for us. Preparation is going to be the same. We need to get better. I mean, that's what it is. You know, whatever happened with other teams around the country, I mean, I see it. I like to look at scores, but you know, every situation's different. Every week's different. We've got our own issues that we need to keep developing and improving and working hard and staying focused on us and what we do. And that's it. That's what we talk about more than anything else.